Alright, let's take a look at what we got here. We can reset our skills completely. We can randomize our skin. We can just change our skin as we so choose. We can rename our companions and ourselves. I still like Vicati. I think that fits him pretty well. Reset skills. Does that include our class feat? Do we have to do that to change our class feat? I don't see anything that says reset class feat specifically. But we probably just have to reset the entire thing. Let me take a look then at what we have. Looks like we have points in just about every skill on the Spore Warden, which is cool, but we can probably do a little bit more of a focused build that, where the skills synergize with each other a bit more. Let's see, we've got action, skill cooldown, companion, health and damage, gun damage, gun handling, okay. Gun, critical hit chance, companion, critical hit chance, poison cloud from the companion, ability damage, magazine size, oh, and the regenerate ammo, yep. While the Fate Maker is in Save Your Soul, Mushroom Companion will revive you, movement speed and fire rate, critical hits, increase companion damage, Fate Maker gains increased gun damage and reduction while aiming down sights. Gun damage for critical hit areas is increased, okay. Ability damage causes the enemy to increase their damage from all other sources. And Fate Maker gains ricochet. Right. So it seems like, honestly, all of these are quite basic. There's not anything in here that's like really specific to like a certain aspect of the game. Like if this was more like Borderlands 2 or Borderlands pre-sequel, I could imagine there being a skill that increases like spell charges, similar to how some skills would increase like grenade count, or there would be probably be more of augments to the action skill or the mushroom companion. There's a few. Oh God, excuse me. There's a couple here, but there's not many that really change up the flow of the gameplay or the gunplay. So I think we have a bit of a choice between focusing on our action skill or the mushroom companion or ourselves. If we go down here, we can reduce action skill cooldown rate, and then we can increase its damage, which is cool. We can do this for synergized damage and increased ability damage as well. Um, so that's all cool if we want to boost our ability. If we want to boost the companion, we can go down the middle, it looks like. All of these boost the companion. Yeah, including this one. So we can do that. Or if we just want to, boost our abilities as the player, it's going to be gun damage, critical hit chance, movement speed, fire rate, gun damage, all that stuff. So we have a bit of a choice. I think we should not focus on gun damage because, like I said, I think we're not going to be able to control our loadout all that well without just farming off stream or spending hours and hours farming for a boss, which I think is quite boring to do. So I think we should focus on probably the companion, because that's going to be guaranteed poison damage against enemies, and it will revive us and save us a lot. So if we boost its health and damage, it'll take care of enemies quicker and be able to save us more often, which I think is uh, a good choice here for us. For the Wyvern, if we keep the Wyvern, let's see what we can do here. Gun damage and Wyvern deal bonus fire damage. Okay. Ward capacity. Okay. Melee damage and Wyvern deal bonus lightning damage. Okay. Damage reduction. Reflecting damage as lightning damage. Fatemaker gains increased action skill cooldown based on remaining ward. Okay. Fatemaker is surrounded by an aura that grants himself increased elemental damage. Alright. Killing an enemy with a gun, or whenever the Wyvern companion kills an enemy with a breath attack, summon a fire orb. Oh, right, yeah. So gun damage or fire breath will cause a fire orb to spawn, or melee damage or claw kills will summon a lightning orb. Yep, I remember that one. Wyvern will occasionally shoot fire bolts. Okay. Increase damage dealt for the Wyvern. Wyvern companion will occasionally use lightning breath. Okay, so it seems like most of these are actually focused on the Wyvern and less on us as a player. So if we choose this, this could be a good combo with the Mushroom Companion, because we're already going to be buffing the Mushroom Companion. You know, buffing the Wyvern along with that will give us, you know, fire and electric damage along with the poison, which is great. A lot of different elements going on around then. I could see that as an option. I don't think we can change the Spore Warden class, so we're going to have to run that along with something else. So it's going to be between the Wyvern and all the other classes. We can't just switch over to the Wyvern as our primary class, pretty sure. The Fatemaker would enter Save Your Soul. Instead, he instantly refills his ward and deals bonus lightning damage. This has a long cooldown. Oh, okay. Maybe I should focus on that. I didn't know that was a skill. After dealing fire damage, the Fatemaker gains critical hit damage for a short duration. After dealing lightning damage, I get critical hit chance. Alright. Whenever the Fatemaker activates his action skill, he calls down elemental bolts that deal fire, ability damage, or lightning ability damage. Alright, yeah, so if we do this, it's going to be definitely focused around the Wyvern and probably as much elemental damage as we can get. So we can split the difference between the poison, the fire, and the electric damage. And then we can use this still for ice damage as well. Or, you know, we could just use this for like extra crowd control, probably. Okay, that's a valid strat there. Let's go ahead and reset skills and see if we can change. Oh, we can choose hero points as well. I don't want the hero points, I just want skills. Yep. Alright. So then I'm guessing we can... Yeah, okay, we can choose another class here. We've got Clawbringer, which is a good choice, I think. Solid choice if we want to do that. Spell Shot. What do you do? Spell Weaving. Cast a spell, or casting a spell, or reloading grants the Fatemaker a stack of Spell Weaving, increasing spell damage. Spell Weaving stacks automatically... No. Spell Weaving stacks automatically decay after a few seconds. That's right, I'm going to have to relearn how to read this text. I forgot. Sometimes it's a bit confusing. That's fine. Recasting a repeating spell has a chance to reward additional spell weaving stacks with each repeating cast. Okay. So this is a spell-focused build then. In which case, I'm guessing we would be splitting the difference between our mushroom companion and our spells, which might not be the worst thing in the world if we can make it work. But we might have to coordinate like our elements and what spells we use in that case. Fatemaker turns an enemy into a skeep for a few seconds. If they are immune, the Fatemaker instantly casts a freeze spell on the enemy and gains 2 stacks of spell weaving. While Polymorph is active, the Fatemaker and his allies have a chance to cast a free spell after dealing gun damage to the polymorphed target. Oh, interesting. This effect is guaranteed for the first time the Fatemaker deals gun damage. After the Fatemaker casts a spell in this way, he gains a stack of spell weaving. Okay, so that sounds like that's good crowd control. Maybe not for bosses, because I'm guessing you can't just turn a boss into a skeep. But if the boss has like minions, then we can turn a minion into a skeep and start casting some free spells. Okay. For Ambihextrous, the Fatemaker may equip a second spell. Oh, okay. Whenever the Fatemaker presses Q, he casts that spell. Interesting, so it just replaces the action skill with a second spell. Okay, well that kind of makes up for, having to spend a few points in this class, because we'll just have a second spell, so we can just use that for a lot of damage. Okay. The Fatemaker is accompanied by a floating Demi-Lich companion. Oh, it's another companion build. Okay. That targets enemies at range and deals dark magic damage. Whenever the Fatemaker casts a spell, the Demi-Lich will cast a hellish blast, creating a homing projectile of the spell's elemental type, dealing damage to nearby enemies on impact. Any increases to Fatemaker's damage also applies to the companions. Ooh. And we get Dire Sacrifice. Fatemaker sacrifices a portion of his health to deal dark magic ability damage and apply status effects to all nearby enemies. Dire Sacrifice deals bonus damage based on the amount of health sacrificed. Okay. Okay, so that's basically like a big old Nova bomb, but we just sacrifice some of our health for that. Interesting. So I could imagine that working out with this class. I mean, I can imagine this working out with our current class as well, because we would have another companion, which would be nice. It's going to deal dark magic damage, um, which is going to heal us sometimes. And I'm assuming there's different class or skill points to increase dark magic damage, which would probably increase the damage of this, which would kind of just make everything do a lot more damage. So maybe this is a good choice too. Reaper of Bones. The Fatemaker is fully healed, gains increased dark magic efficiency, and deals bonus dark magic damage, but his health takes an ever-increasing amount of damage per second. The Fatemaker would die, he instead becomes invulnerable and restores a portion of his health. When he is no longer invulnerable, Reaper of Bones ends. Duration is based on current health percentage and cannot be modified by other sources. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so if we did this, we would probably not use the ice tornadoes and we'd probably just use this. Deal a lot of dark magic really quickly and, keep us from dying in some cases. I could see us using that for sure. Got Stabomancer. Fatemaker's critical hit chance is increased. That's it. Okay. So we could combine that with our class tree if we do the right side of our class tree. that boosts our like gun damage and all that stuff. Fatemaker throws out a ghost blade, which spins in place, dealing melee damage periodically, based on my equipped melee weapon. Pressing Q while Ghost Blade is active causes it to teleport to the targeted location and reduce its remaining duration by a small percentage. Okay. From the shadows, the Fatemaker enters stealth, turning invisible. While in stealth, all damage dealt is automatically critical, but critical hits deal reduced damage. Okay, interesting. So we could go, we could do the right side of our class tree to boost like gun damage and all that stuff, and do from the shadows. I can see that doing some good work. Um, Basically just go invisible and kill everything within a short amount of time. The Ghost Blade, I don't know, sounds kind of not that interesting to me because it doesn't do. Well, I guess it would do elemental damage if you have an elemental weapon equipped, right? But that would mean we would have to boost the melee weapon if we want to boost this, which is kind of interesting. Got the Berserker, and then what else do we have? Light Collar. Okay. For the Berserker, we have on action skill start. The Fatemaker becomes enraged. While enraged, he deals bonus frost damage for a little bit. Enrage will not complete while an action skill is active and ends if your Fatemaker enters Save Your Soul. Activating an action skill when already enraged restores a portion of the timer. Interesting. So we could definitely combine that with our current ice tornadoes. That would work pretty well. Fatemaker spins, dealing melee damage periodically to nearby enemies based on my equipped weapon, gaining increased movement speed and slow immunity for a little bit. Fatemaker may also press Q again to cancel this skill and refund a portion of the cooldown. Increases to ability damage apply to damage dealt by Dreadwind. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. This sounds pretty much like the same thing as the Ghost Sword, if I'm honest. Just without the range of the Ghost Sword. I'm not too interested in that over all the other ones we've seen so far. Fatemaker leaps towards his target, dealing frost ability damage to all nearby enemies. Any non-boss enemies damaged will be instantly killed if their total HP is below a certain percentage. If Feral Surge kills an enemy, its cooldown is reset. Ooh. Yeah, I can see us using this too. Just keep jumping towards stuff and kill them. There's probably some skills to increase this threshold up to like 40% or something. That seems pretty solid. And then we have the Blight Collar. Applying a status effect increases elemental damage for duration. Applying a status effect increases elemental damage for a duration. So if we do status effects, they'll kind of have a runaway effect, I guess, and just deal a lot more damage over time. Okay. Got Bog Totem. Fatemaker summons a Bog Totem companion at target location, which periodically creates elemental bog spirits that seek out nearby enemies, dealing ability damage and exploding on impact. Damage type is based on the currently equipped gun. When the Fatemaker kills an enemy while Bog Totem is active, duration is partially refunded. Great. Bog Totem has multiple charges, and pinging an enemy will cause your Bog Totem to target them. Okay. So it's more companions, but we have to give up our action skill slot to summon them. Alright. Plague Storm. Fatemaker summons a Plague Storm at target location, dealing poison damage over time. Whenever the Fate Maker deals non-ability damage, a percentage of it is restored. Plague Storm periodically creates elemental bolts, targeting random numbers of enemies underneath it, dealing ability damage of a random elemental type equal to the damage stored. What? What? The Plague Storm periodically creates elemental bolts, targeting a random number of enemies underneath it, dealing ability damage of a random elemental type equal to the damage stored split among all the targets. Oh, and clearing all stored damage. Oh, I misread this. Whenever a Fate Maker deals non-ability damage, a percentage of it is stored within the Plague Storm. Oh, okay. I thought it was saying a percentage of the cooldown rate was restored. I misread that completely. Okay. So if we deal non-ability damage while this thing is active, it's going to start shooting out a bunch of bolts everywhere based on that damage. But the bolts cannot apply status effects. Okay. All right, so far, I do honestly think this might be our strongest contender for now, because we can definitely split the points between both of the companions and get a really strong companion build going. This is kind of interesting, but I don't think it'll go super well with our Spore Warden, because we don't have anything in our Spore Warden build that just directly buffs spells, I don't think. And I can't imagine the spell class would have a lot of skills to buff our Mushroom Companion, probably. So this might be like one of the worst ones we could choose right now, even if we, do like using spells a lot. I think this one might be our next best option because of the companion and the fact that this probably would save us in some instances from being killed. And again, we could probably get some kind of cycle going to deal a lot of dark magic damage, poison damage, and just kind of letting our companions deal a lot of damage. So this is a good choice for sure. This one is fine. We can definitely boost our critical hit chance and damage with our current class. But I just think it's not that interesting. I could definitely see a build where you get like an absurd amount of critical chance and critical damage and just kind of kill everything in a few seconds. But I've never really been that good at focusing critical hits like that, so I'm not really worried about it. And Berserker might be interesting because of the cold damage. We can definitely use this with uh, our current action skill, the tornadoes, the frost tornadoes. But if we don't use the tornadoes, this one here also seems interesting, the Feral Surge. And Blight Collar is fine. Um, I don't really want the Blight Collar, to be honest, though. Seems a bit complicated. And we already have poison damage from the Spore Warden. So I think let's try the Graveborn, because we've been running the Clawbringer this whole time. So let's try the Graveborn and try to get something going with that. And we'll go through all these and read them. Alright, maximum health is increased, dark magic efficiency is increased, so definitely boosting both of these abilities here. Skill, spell cooldown rate is reduced. Or cooldown rate is increased. Okay, but the cooldown time, of course, is reduced. Alright. Fatemaker deals increased damage dealt. Fatemaker deals increased damage for every companion he has, and the respawn rate is increased. Oh yeah, see? This boosts our companions even more. So it does go well with the Spore Warden. Whenever the Fatemaker casts a spell, he generates health over a brief duration. Okay, so this one might go well with spell shot, especially if you equip like 2 dark magic spells. That might go pretty hard. Companions deal bonus dark magic damage for a duration. Okay. Portion of the damage taken by Fate Maker is redirected to the Demi Lich. Whenever the Fate Maker reaches 1 health, he immediately restores health, sacrificing the Demi Lich. Okay, so it's like another uh, save for us. The Mushroom Companion's gonna save us, and this is gonna save us. Okay. Fate Maker spells deal both bonus bonus dark magic damage. All right. Kill skill, chance to summon a Dark Hydra companion, dealing dark magic ability. Okay. Maximum health and spell damage is increased for a long duration. When the Demi-Lich casts Hellish Blast, there is a chance it will cast again for a brief duration. Fate Maker gains increased damage dealt and reduction to lower his health. Whenever Fate Maker deals spell damage, there is a chance he will create an elemental explosion, dealing ability damage of the spell's elemental type. But it can't critical hit. Okay. Casting a spell automatically activates all of the Fate Maker's kill skills. Jesus. Holy. Oh, okay. You know what? It might be best to put most of our points into this tree then, and to get this skill, because that's pretty crazy. We would get the arrows, we would get the frost cyclones, we would get this. All right, the Nova bomb, and this, which is just gonna get us a lot of damage for a while and save us from dying. So yeah, I think it might be worth it to go down this path and probably focus more on spells and companion damage than anything else. Meaning, we should probably do this middle path here for the Spore Warden, and then focus the rest of the points here, and then use the rest of the points on the Spore Warden if we have any left over. Uh, so let me go ahead and do that. See what we have here. Maximum health increased. Spell cooldown rate is increased. Companion damage. Let's do companion damage. Our spell cooldown rate on our current spell is already pretty good, so we don't really need that. Oh, we do need at least 1 point in each. That's fine. Fate Maker casts a spell. He regenerates health over a brief period. Dark magic damage is increased. Companions deal dark magic damage for a duration. Alright, let's do the spells. This. Portion of the damage taken by the Fate Maker is redirected to the Demi Lich. Yeah, definitely want that. Spells deal bonus dark magic damage. Chance to summon a Dark Hydra, which will also increase our damage because of this skill. So I think we can just do all of those and then one in there. Yeah, that's fine. Maximum health and spell damage is increased. Yeah, we'll do both of these. And we need one in there at least. Whenever Fate Maker deals spell damage, there's a chance he'll create an elemental explosion. Or Fate Maker gains increased damage dealt and damage reduction the lower his health. Yeah, I definitely want that. I'll pick that up, and we'll just put the rest right in here. Oh, we can't. Okay. Let's do... Two in here, two in here. We'll do one there. Magazine size, ability damage. Gun critical hit chance is increased. Companion critical hit chance. Probably split the difference here. We have 3 more. Increase companion damage. Yeah, we'll just put them all in here. Okay, great. Yeah, that seems like the best thing we can do for now. Probably gonna take a little bit of getting used to not have as much gun damage as we've had. It's kind of a lot of gun damage taken away, honestly. But that seems perfectly fine, to be honest with you.
Plan to just stand here all day? Right.
So we're just gonna go ahead and run with that.
Guess everything's going according to plan.
Oh, I gotta sneeze again.